Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the iRacing British Touring Car Championship round 17 here on BSR TV. In the commentary box with me, Chris Cohen and Rob Burton. A great race just gone by for round 16. Rob, looking to improve on that?
Yep, great race indeed, and hopefully anything can just get better and that, and hopefully this race will make it even better, and hopefully sometimes just stay out there and try to up to the lap runners and make some good places up.
Yeah, of course, and we are just having a quick look at the championship standings right now. We've seen a good finish from Adam Terry in round 16, but Ella Stevens, we think, got disconnected just at the end of the last race, which is a disaster. Never like to see a driver go out through a connection problem rather than a mistake. He's currently second in the championship, but that could all change at the end of this session.
Yep, definitely. After each race, I mean, the championship table and where drivers finish can make it quite a bit of difference.
And these standings we're seeing on the screen now, of course, they're up to date from the beginning of the meeting. So this was after Brands Hatch last week. They haven't been updated again since. So everything could change, especially considering that man in 9th place, Koba Lopez, who has only been in one meeting in this championship so far, almost scored maximum points. He scored 62 points from 3 races, and if he doubles that by finishing very strongly here, that'll move him into perhaps the top 5 places.
Yep, top 5 places, that's very good for having just started. Looking at his lap times in warm-up, he's doing pretty well at the minute, and I expect him to put on a good position.
Can you see anyone overtaking him, perhaps off the grid, or do you think he's got this one in the bag as well?
I think he's got it in the bag, but I expect someone at least to try at the first corner and see what happens, get it in front of him, and maybe they might be able to control the race.
Well, we'll have to see as the drivers are now making their way onto the grid. The grid should be with you in just a moment, and there's a lot of cars out there. That's the quick way of saying it, I suppose. We saw almost 40 cars in the last race, all going down into one very narrow corner. Makes for some exciting racing.
Yep, 40 cars and into the first corner, which is a very tight left-hander onto the infield section, and we expect people to take it a little bit easier this time.
So your pole position man for race 2 of the evening is Koba Lopez, the Cobra in the Team 44 car. Andreas Katz then on the left hand side of your screen in 2nd position. Mark Fletcher on the right in 3rd. Just behind Katz is the Addison Lee of Chepelewski in 4th, as the lights are now on, ready for another 13 laps of racing at Charlotte. They're green. All the drivers making their way off the grid now, and that is one hell of a big grid as they make their way down into the first corner. Katz can't quite jump Koba Lopez off the line. A couple of drivers going wide there. The Wicks Racing boys just following each other through turn 1. Everyone's clean so far. Look at those guys on the inside. Oh, and we got contact. One of the Speedworks has taken out the Pertex, and that's one of the Team 44 drivers is out again. There's a big traffic jam at turn 1, and that could have ended several drivers' races. Just trying to get a handle on who those drivers were now. That did not look good, Rob.
No, it doesn't look good. I think a lot of drivers managed to get away with it there, better than the first race anyway.
Well, Koba Lopez is your driver out in front again. Katz, though, is not dropping back, so he's right on the tail of Koba Lopez as we come towards the end of lap 1. We were talking about this before, Rob, the inevitability of first lap incident, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely. First lap incidents can ruin your race quite badly, especially if you had to do the repairs and everything, and looks like some drivers managed to get away quite clean there.
Just waiting for these positions to update now. Koba Lopez from Katz, from Fletcher, from Chepelewski. Adam Terry, though, appears to have dropped right down the field. He is currently running in the...
Oh, he's just hit somebody there.
Oh, what's happened to Adam Terry? Let's see if we can get a quick replay of that.
Yeah, that was at turn 1 actually, coming inside another car. I think he managed to not quite brake hard enough to avoid it.
And we're just watching a replay of this now as he comes over the start-finish line. He dropped down to 17th position. That's an incident we didn't see. Just coming into the braking zone there for turn 1. So yeah, one of the cars in front of him is blinking. Oh, and the Pertec is off the grass in front of him, and that is a disaster for Adam Terry. One of the Pertecs getting a little bit out of shape there, and on the grass takes out Terry, and that's going to be difficult to see how Terry's going to score many points from that particular position.
Yeah, definitely. Back to the front of the field, Lopez is still leading quite well, but he's only leading by about 0.3 of a second, and Andrews is keeping the gap close to him.
Just a really close battle at the moment, as Koba Lopez is now onto the oval section, so we'll go on board with him. Katz taking the lower line there, looking to pick up the draft from Koba Lopez. We know Lopez runs a very low wing, so he's bound to be fast on this oval section. Katz not really picking up the slipstream here. Perhaps he's running a bit of a higher wing setting, but not dropping off the back as we saw in the last race, Rob.
Yeah, definitely not dropping off the back. Definitely hanging in there and keeping the gap there in front, hoping that he might make a mistake.
No definite moves for the moment though. John Richardson meanwhile is in a battle with Pinella, who is just in front of him, just behind him in fact. So Craig Ray is also in this battle with Jerome Kaiser and Simon Field just there in the Wix Racing just behind. So there's a big train of cars building up from about 5th to the 10th position. We can see them all on the screen coming through now. Simon Field obviously not finishing in a great position in the last race. We'll be looking to make up that position in this race. Doesn't look to be doing too bad so far, and we'll go on board with Simon as he picks up the chase for the 7th place of Craig Ray up in front of him.
Yeah, Simon Field putting the pressure on a few drivers in front there, trying to make up some positions quickly. A big train of cars in front.
It doesn't look like he's making quite enough progress, as one of those dyno jets is just up in front of him. I believe the dyno jet could well be a back marker as we look at Craig Ray, who's currently running in 6th position, not 7th as your screen says. He's moved up a position since. Dave Grunell meanwhile up into 4th, so Grunell's doing very well. And that's a big impact behind there with the dyno jet that's just gone off. Who was that though? That's I'm not quite sure who that was that's just gone off there. It's one of the dyno jets anyway, taking out one of the Pertecs, as we're now following along with Julian Janowski, who's down in 15th position in the Addison Lee. Again, the information on your screen is not quite right, I'm afraid. And there's that big train of cars, Rob, all the way from about 5th all the way down.
Yeah, big train of cars from about 5th all the way down. A few of them are back from positions, so I think Simon Field just made another position up there on Craig.
I think he's just behind Craig Ray at the moment. Ray is currently leading by about a quarter of a second as they come onto the oval section of the track. Pinella just in that eBay Motors car, the multicoloured and black car just up in front. Field meanwhile looking to make the move around the outside on the oval. A long oval section here. He's not benefiting from the draft anymore, so he's going to have to make that stick on his own merit, but he's not been able to do it this time round as he switches back to the inside onto braking. He's looking to take out Ray and gets around Ray, manages to keep it. A little bit of rubbing, little kiss from Craig Ray as Field tries to go through. Ray with the inside around this corner though, and that white and blue Speedworks car should have this one. Meanwhile, just behind then, Stelian Chepelevsky is looking to capitalise on this situation. So Chepelevsky currently running in the 8th position. We're watching Simon Field up in front of him now, and Craig Ray just up in front of him.
Just battling straight away here. Look at this straight battle going on.
So Chepelevsky looks to pick up the slipstream. Looks to pick up the draft from the back of that Simon Field's Wix Racing car. And the clouds have eased off this time round, Rob. We haven't mentioned that yet.
No, we haven't mentioned that yet either.
Yeah, it looks to be a lot better conditions out on the track. A lot sunnier, the track's going to be a lot warmer, and we just have a look now at Simon Field trying to go around the outside of Craig Ray this time. Those three cars really bunched up tightly. Ray looks like he might well take the inside line into that corner again, as we saw in the last lap, but Field's going to try and make it work around the outside. It's letting Pinella up ahead in 5th position get away, and there's contact. Field's bunched off the track by Ray there. Door-to-door action. That's let Chepalewski through. Chepalewski takes 7th, and Field has been pushed down to 8th position. Field won't be happy with that one.
No, Field won't be happy with that one. We've still got 7 laps to go here, so the laps are coming down quite quickly.
They are, yeah, and Chepalewski now right on the tail of Craig Ray. Moves into the inside in the draft. Ray's just let him get away with that very easily. I'm wondering if either he wasn't aware of that or doesn't want a challenge for position. Field's following him through now, so Field down the inside as well, having just been bunched off the track last lap by Craig Ray. He's looking to take that position back. Ray drops down to the 8th position, so it's Chepalewski from Field, from Ray. And, well, Rob, you've got to say, Craig Ray kind of gave that up quite easily.
He did actually give it quite easily as well, and I think maybe just trying to protect his car a little bit, not get too damaged as well on the racetrack.
And just 1.2 seconds up the road, in the foreground of your picture there, is Ignacio Pinella, and he has got Dave Grunhill right in front of him, so we join up with that battle now as Pinella is attempting to get past Grunhill into 4th place. Are on board with Ignacio Pinella, who's doing. It says 4th on your screen, but it's actually 5th. He's behind Grunhill, who's in 4th, and he's made a huge inroads, because we saw him qualify badly, made good progress in the first race, and now challenging for 4th position.
Yeah, it is a challenging 4th position, but he's keeping it clean. He's making his way through the field a little bit, and hopefully now he can build a bit of a gap and catch some of the other cars in front of him.
And he's round the outside in the draft. It's going to be difficult to make that one stick coming into the first corner, as they're both hard on the brakes. Grunhill's kept it nice and tight coming in there. Pinella's just looking to get round the outside. Oh, as Field makes a challenge on Chepalewski just behind there, and doesn't quite pull it off. Craig Ray, meanwhile, is backwards into the wall. So what's happened there? Let's see if we can get a quick replay of that as he comes down the start-finish straight. Craig Ray into turn 1, and just gets it a little bit wide into the cones, into the wall. That's a disaster for Craig Ray, and we were just speaking to him at the end of the last race as well, saying how he hopes to improve. He was due a good performance. Let's hope last race wasn't his only good performance of the season, because he's a great one to watch, especially in battles such as the ones we've seen. Meanwhile, Grunhill has been pipped by Pinella, and while the two have been battling, Rob, Chepalewski and Field are right on their tail.
Yep, they're on his field ready to pounce. Hopefully he can keep it clean and not make any mistakes to keep them on the rest of the race career. We've only got a couple more laps to go yet. So
this train being led by the 4th position, Ignacio Pinella, and Dave Grunhill gets a much better line out of the last corner before the oval there, and look how close Chepalewski is behind the bumper of Dave Grunhill. Looks to give him a little bit of a kiss, and now moves down to the inside as Field tries to follow him through on the right hand side of your picture. On the left is Pinella, trying to dissuade these guys from picking up his draft there, and the 4 of them are going to be coming into that turn 1 very shortly, almost side by side, and this could end in disaster. So on the brakes, Pinella takes it nice and wide. Chepalewski looks to take the place from Grunhill. Grunhill's been edged out, and Field will have the inside line here. So
yeah, great respect between all those drivers there, trying to keep it clean.
Absolutely, and Field has jumped into the 5th position now, so he's done well out of that one. Grunhill is still right behind him though, so Simon Field not really out of the woods yet, as we just this is lap 10 out of 13. We're on board with Simon Field now, looking back at Dave Grunhill and Stelian Chepalewski behind.
Yeah, it's not even for Simon Field yet. He can still make another place up and get into 4th, but that's probably about where he can get for the amount of laps remaining.
Back onto the oval section then, Pinella has just pulled out away, but this group we're looking at now on the screen, led by Ignacio Pinella, is a full 10 seconds. 11 seconds now behind the three up front. And the other battle we want to watch now is Mark Fletcher in third place. It's just half a second behind Andreas Katz, who is running in second. And it goes without saying really, but Lopez is miles away at the front of the field. No real doubt about Lopez winning this race, barring any final laps incidents.
Yeah, Lopez has almost got a 6-second gap in front there, and with a couple laps to go, it looks like he's going to get this win again.
Fletcher wanting to improve on his third place really. He's going to have his work cut out. Does it sound to you like he's running low on fuel? A little bit of an engine problem perhaps. Maybe it was just my interpretation of that. It seems to be alright now anyway. Fletcher is still chasing Katz.
Just looking at Fletcher's lap times, I mean, he's been doing solid levels, but except for the last 2 laps he's done 12, so he's losing a little bit of time in the last couple of laps.
It might well have just been over the bumpy section. It did sound like some of that wheel spin might have been an indication of low fuel, but it doesn't look like that's the case for Mark Fletcher. I'm sure he's much more professional than to not put enough fuel in his car. So have a little bit of look further down the field as we've got Steve Richardson in 12th position now, being challenged in the KX Momentum of Laura Bond round the outside. Richard Wilde, Jonathan Rex are also in this battle, as is Dan Hunt, I believe. We'll just have a watch now. The Speedworks car just challenging down the inside. The KX Momentum of Laura Bond is going down the inside there to take the 12th position away from Steve Richardson. Dan Hunt in the Speedworks thought about doing it as well, thought better of it. So it's now Laura Bond from Richardson, from Hunt, from Rex. And
that was a great move by Laura Bond there. You know, avoided any contact, slipped down the inside, and managed to hold it.
Of course, and a mid-place finish for Bond last time round means that this will be an improvement into the points as well. Showing 13th on your screen is actually 12th at the moment. And a lot more drivers, I've got to say, on the lead lap. We've got 19 drivers on the lead lap right now, and they're all locked into this battle. It seems to be difficult to get enough of a gap. Oh, as we watch Laura Bond flick into and out of existence there. But it seems to be difficult to get a gap when you've got this oval involved.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with this oval bowl, a lot of drivers are close together, getting a good tow, and I think that's why they're keeping them together a bit more.
And Dan Hunt now down on the inside of Steve Richardson as well. Can he pull the move on Bond as well, as the KX Momentum behind as well looks to get through? Bond holds the inside line, but Bond's on the grass. Bond collides with Richardson. Oh, that is a disaster.
Oh, no.
Bond has collided with Richardson. Where's Steve Richardson gone? He's off the track. He's getting it back on there now, but that is... Wow, well, she just lost control of the car on the way into that corner. Yeah, it didn't go down well, did it?
Yeah, it didn't really go down well, that, and it's a bit of a pity really, because it was just about on the last lap now.
We'll just have a quick look at that on the replay. Bond trying to defend the inside line there. Gets a little bit squirrely under braking. Nowhere to go for Steve Richardson. Straight into the door of Laura Bond. And that's putting paid to probably good positions for both of those. Coba Lopez over the line then in first position, as we just switch back to the results there. Katz second, Fletcher third, Field with an... Oh, Field's just been pipped to it on the line there, so Field down to fifth. Pinella takes the fourth position, at least on our screen. After the timing issues from the last race, I can't guarantee anything, but it looks like Pinella has taken fourth. Field fifth. How about that?
Yeah, and I thought Ellis did a good job there, trying to get some points after a couple of races there.
Well, yeah, indeed. Stevens must have started down in the teens, surely. He must have started down in, what, 17th, 18th place?
17th place he started in.
To make up 10 positions then, very strong performance from Ellis Stevens. Tristan Bottas, oh, big crash going on in the background there. Tristan Bottas has come home in the 8th position, Wild 9th, Shaw in 10th. Good result for US Racing.
Another good starter there was Jonathan Rex, who started 19th place, and he's made his way up the field.
Yep, and Laura Bond, in actual fact, coming home in 15th position, so in actual fact that crash not putting too much damage on her car. She's managed to get that home, but the loser there really was Steve Richardson, who was running in 13th position and finished outside the top 20. So the last point there taken by Laura Bond, 14th Stephen McGarity. The younger Richardson, John, is in 13th, Jonathan Rex in 12th, Dan Hunt in the 11th position. And as we predicted, it was a bit calmer than last time round, but no less exciting, Rob.
Yeah, I know we spoke to Nick McCohen before the end of last race, and he didn't seem to have quite a good race there at the moment. He finished in 37th place there.
No, it wasn't a very good race for him, so I think we'll leave him alone to contemplate the start of the next race. But let's see if we can get a quick word with second place man Andreas Katz. Andreas, can you hear us? Do we have anything from Mr. Katz? We don't have anything from Mr. Katz. We can't speak to him right now, but let's pick it up with Simon Field, who came home with an impressive 5th place this time round. Simon, are you there?
Indeed I am. How are you?
I'm very well, but it's more about how you are after that impressive finish. That was 5th place.
Well, I hope you had fun watching it. It was great fun racing, so I'm pleased, yeah.
And just how much of a difference does that draft make? Because we saw several passes on you and several passes made by you on that draft on the oval section.
It does make a lot of difference, and if you're the lead car, you've got no chance. The only hope you've got is you can tuck back in behind and then go back down the inside at turn 1. But it does make for interesting racing. I suppose that's the main thing.
And we've seen a couple of drivers go defensive, trying to take the inside line almost on the apron round the oval. Is that not a strategy you'd consider?
It is, but there's not a lot of point. If they've got that big of a run on you, they come around the outside. You might as well, apart from the last lap, I'm going to give them the bottom because they're going to get past me anyway. There's no point arguing and causing grief just for the sake of possibly you're still going to lose the position anyway.
Sure, and that grants you a 6th place start in the final race. Hoping to move up from there?
Oh yes, I'll be going for the win in this one after chucking it off the road yet again, 3rd week in a row at turn 1 and race 1. So,
and we've seen Mr. Lopez run away with the first 2 races, but starting from 10th, he'll be in a much harder position. What's going to happen when you see him in your mirrors?
Well, he got to 2nd last week, didn't he? But I'll be doing my best to keep behind him. But I think the only hope really is to try and make a break at the start and hope we can get a group away from him. Because if he gets on the back of us, he'll get his way through because he is that good, unfortunately.
Well, that remains to be seen in the 3rd race, but thanks for joining us, Simon.
You're welcome.
That's Simon Field for Wix Racing. Rob, reverse grid in the 3rd race. Coba Lopez is going to be down in the 10th position. What can you do from there?
I think if he gets a good start, he can make some places up. I was expecting to probably get at least top 5, but going for the win's going to be quite tricky. But looking at the first 2 races, he's a good driver.
Absolutely. And round 18 from Charlotte Motor Speedway of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship is coming your way in about 10 or 15 minutes. If you're watching a live stream, as always, don't go anywhere. It will load right up for you, and I hope you can join us then.